As a joint doctor, an orthopedic specialist who has spent over 25 years helping older adults stay mobile and manage pain, I've seen how powerful exercise can be. I've seen patients in their 70s and 80s rebuild their strength, throw away their canes, and get back to the activities they love. Exercise can be a true lifesaver, but I have also seen the other side. I have seen patients whose lives were put in danger, not by their arthritis or their joint problems, but by the very exercises they were doing to try and help themselves. I've seen people, with the best of intentions, unknowingly perform movements that put their cardiovascular system under extreme stress, triggering the very event they were trying to prevent, a heart attack. This is a shocking and heartbreaking paradox. Seniors, often dealing with achy joints, are told to exercise to protect their heart, but sometimes, the exercises they choose are a direct threat to it. In today's detailed video, we are going to clear up this dangerous confusion. I am going to share with you 4 common exercise habits that can be surprisingly dangerous for your heart after age 60. For each of these mistakes, I will first explain the hidden risk, the physiological chain reaction it can set off inside your body. I will share a real story from one of my patients, and then, I will give you the safer, more effective alternative. This is not about scaring you away from exercise. It's about empowering you to exercise intelligently. This is about protecting your heart while you protect your joints, a vital principle for your long-term senior health. So please, watch until the end. This knowledge is not just helpful, it could be life-saving. Let's explore these 4 common mistakes and learn how to swap them for safer, smarter movements. Mistake 1. Our first mistake is a very common one, seen in gyms and living rooms everywhere, trying to lift weights that are too heavy and, critically, holding your breath while you strain. This might be pushing a heavy weight on a leg press machine, trying to lift a heavy dumbbell, or even just straining to move a heavy piece of furniture. The intention is good to build muscle, but the technique can be deadly. When you hold your breath and bear down with an intense effort, you are performing what is known as the Valsalva maneuver. This action dramatically increases the pressure inside your chest cavity and, consequently, inside your head. This causes a massive, instantaneous spike in your blood pressure. For a young person with flexible, clean arteries, the body can handle this spike. But for a senior, whose arteries may have become stiffer with age and may have some underlying plaque buildup, atherosclerosis, this sudden surge of pressure is like a tidal wave hitting a brittle seawall. It can be enough to cause a fragile piece of that plaque to rupture and break off from the artery wall. When that happens, the body's emergency response is to form a blood clot at the site of the rupture. If that clot forms in one of the coronary arteries that feeds the heart muscle itself, the result is a heart attack. This is why, as a joint doctor, I get so concerned. A patient might be trying to strengthen the muscles around their arthritic knee with a leg press, but if they are using too much weight and straining improperly, they are putting their heart at profound risk. This is a critical aspect of senior health, where the connection between muscle effort and heart safety must be understood. I remember my patient, Mr. Arthur, who was 75 and had moderate osteoarthritis in his knees. His physical therapist had told him that strengthening his quadriceps would help support his knees. So, he joined a local gym. He saw younger men on the leg press machine pushing heavy stacks of weights, and he thought, strength is strength. He loaded the machine with more weight than he was ready for. He told me later, I'd take a big breath, hold it, and push with everything I had for just a few reps. One afternoon, during his 3rd repetition, he felt a sudden, crushing pain in his chest. He was having a heart attack, right there in the gym. The paramedics and the team in the emergency room saved his life. His cardiologist determined that the intense, breath-holding strain from lifting too much weight had caused his blood pressure to spike so violently that it ruptured a stable plaque in one of his coronary arteries, triggering the event. He was trying to help his knees, but he nearly lost his life because he didn't understand the danger of this straining technique. The solution is a fundamental rule of safe strength training. Always breathe and exhale on the exertion. Before you lift, push, or pull, take a breath in. Then, as you perform the most difficult part of the movement, you must breathe out slowly and steadily. This simple act prevents the dangerous buildup of internal pressure and keeps your blood pressure much more stable. The safer alternative to lifting heavy is to use lighter weights for more repetitions. You can build muscle just as effectively and much more safely, by lifting a weight that you can comfortably perform 10 to 15 repetitions with, while breathing correctly. For someone like Mr. Arthur, instead of a heavy leg press, I would recommend bodyweight chair squats or using a light resistance band for leg extensions. This builds strength without risking a catastrophic pressure spike. After his recovery, Arthur learned this new method. His blood pressure stayed stable during his workouts, and he still got a great strength benefit for his knees, but this time, without risking his heart. We've learned to avoid dangerous pressure spikes from straining, but what about exercises that are designed to be fast and explosive? Our next mistake looks at a popular fitness trend that can be equally risky for a senior's cardiovascular system. If you're still watching this video and are now committed to breathing correctly during exercise, please comment, breathe and lift below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Mistake 2. Our second mistake involves a category of exercises that has become very popular in recent years, even in some senior fitness programs: sudden, explosive, or power movements. This includes activities like kettlebell swings, box jumps, even onto a low step, or any form of high-intensity interval training, HIIT, that requires you to go from 0 to 100 in a split second. The problem with these exercises for older adults is that they can cause cardiovascular shock. Think of your arteries at age 70 or 80 like old, slightly brittle rubber bands. They have lost some of the elasticity they had in their youth. A young, flexible artery can expand and contract easily to accommodate rapid changes in blood flow and pressure. An older, stiffer artery cannot. When you perform an explosive movement, you are demanding an instantaneous, massive increase in your heart rate and blood pressure. Your heart is forced to suddenly pump a huge volume of blood into a system of pipes that is not prepared to handle that surge. This sudden shock can be dangerous in several ways. It can trigger a dangerous heart rhythm or arrhythmia. For someone with pre-existing atherosclerosis, that sudden surge of pressure can, just like with the Valsalva maneuver, be enough to rupture a plaque and cause a heart attack. This is a critical consideration for senior health, where the goal should be steady, consistent effort, not shocking the system. I had a patient, Mrs. Carroll, who was 68 and had just joined a senior boot camp class at her local community center. She was excited. It felt dynamic and modern. The class included fast-paced movements like modified jumping jacks and quick squats. She told me she always felt a little dizzy and fluttery in her chest after the class, but she assumed it was just because she was out of shape. One day, during a set of quick power step-ups onto a low aerobic step, she felt that flutter become a frightening, chaotic pounding in her chest. She became extremely lightheaded and short of breath. Thankfully, her instructor recognized the signs and called for help. In the hospital, an EKG revealed she had gone into an episode of atrial fibrillation, an irregular and rapid heart rhythm that can significantly increase the risk of stroke. The sudden, intense demand of the explosive exercises had overloaded her heart's electrical system. Mrs. Carroll's boot camp, while well-intentioned, was the wrong type of exercise for her cardiovascular system. The safer and far more effective alternative for seniors is steady-state, rhythmic cardio. This type of exercise involves movements that gradually raise your heart rate and then keep it at a stable, moderate level for the duration of your workout. Instead of explosive jumps, the solution is brisk walking, either outdoors or on a treadmill. Instead of fast-paced calisthenics, the solution is using a stationary recumbent bicycle, which provides excellent cardiovascular benefits with zero impact and full back support. Activities like swimming or water aerobics are also fantastic, as the water supports the body and eliminates any stress on the joints while providing gentle resistance. After her health scare, Mrs. Carroll quit the boot camp and joined a water aerobics class at her local YMCA. She found she could get a fantastic workout, raising her heart rate and breathing deeply for 45 minutes, all without any of the dangerous heart rate spikes or dizziness. She was strengthening her heart in a way that worked with her body, not against it. We've now covered the risks of internal pressure and sudden intensity. But what about the external environment? Our next mistake explores how the very air around you when you exercise can put your heart at risk. If you're still watching this video and are now committed to steady, rhythmic movement, please comment "steady movement" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Mistake 3. Our third mistake is not about what you do, but when and where you do it. The problem is exercising in extreme temperatures, either intense heat and humidity or significant cold. Many active seniors love to walk, garden, or play golf, but they often underestimate how drastically their body's ability to handle temperature stress has changed with age. This can put an enormous and dangerous load on the heart. Let's look at extreme heat. When you exercise in the heat, your body's primary way of cooling down is to pump more blood to the surface of your skin, to radiate heat away, vasodilation, and to produce sweat. For a senior, this creates a double danger. The vasodilation can cause a drop in blood pressure, forcing the heart to pump much harder and faster to maintain circulation to the brain and vital organs. At the same time, sweating leads to fluid loss. As we age, our thirst mechanism becomes less sensitive, so we often don't feel thirsty until we are already dehydrated. Dehydration causes the blood to become thicker and more viscous, which makes it harder for the heart to pump and increases the risk of blood clots. Extreme cold is equally dangerous, but for the opposite reason. When you exercise in the cold, your body tries to conserve heat by constricting the blood vessels in your extremities, vasoconstriction. This narrowing of the arteries dramatically increases your blood pressure because your heart is now forced to pump the same amount of blood through much smaller pipes. For someone with underlying hypertension, this can cause a dangerous spike in blood pressure that can strain the heart muscle and increase the risk of a heart attack or stroke. This environmental awareness is a crucial part of senior health. I treated a patient named Mr. David, a 72-year-old avid golfer who lived in Florida. He was a tough man and insisted on playing his 18 holes in the middle of the summer afternoon, just as he had for years. "I'm used to the heat," he would tell his wife. But one sweltering July day, on the 12th hole, he felt a sudden weakness and a crushing pain in his chest. He collapsed on the fairway. He had suffered a major heart attack. The cardiologist determined it was triggered by a combination of severe dehydration, heat stress, and the immense strain it placed on his heart. His love for the game, combined with a failure to adapt his routine to his aging body's new limits, nearly cost him his life. The solution is mindful environmental control. It's about being smart and adapting your activity to the conditions. In hot weather, exercise early in the morning or late in the evening when the sun is not at its peak. Seek out air-conditioned environments for your workout, such as an indoor shopping mall for walking or a home exercise routine like the ones we're discussing. And crucially, hyperhydrate. Drink water before, during, and after you are active in the heat. In cold weather, dress in smart layers. Trapping air between layers provides better insulation than one single heavy coat. Always cover your head, hands, and feet. A scarf worn loosely over your mouth and nose can help to warm the air before it enters your lungs. And consider moving your workout indoors on the very coldest days. Mr. David recovered and now enjoys his golf, but he has a new, unbreakable rule. He only plays at 7 a.m. We've learned to avoid straining, explosive movements, and environmental extremes. Our final mistake is more subtle. It's the danger of doing too much of a good thing and forgetting the most important part of any exercise program: rest. If you're still watching this video and are now committed to exercising in a safe environment, please comment "Exercise Smart" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Mistake 4. Our final mistake is one that often affects the most motivated and dedicated seniors: overtraining and ignoring the need for recovery. When you're newly retired or have a new health diagnosis, it's easy to jump into a new fitness routine with tremendous enthusiasm. You might think that exercising every single day and pushing yourself hard each time is the fastest way to get results. But for an older body, this more is better mindset can backfire, leading to a state of chronic inflammation and stress hormone overload that is deeply harmful to your heart. Here's the science. Exercise is a form of physical stress. It breaks down muscle fibers. This is good, because the magic of getting stronger happens during the recovery period, the time between your workouts. This is when your body repairs those muscle fibers and builds them back stronger. However, if you exercise intensely every single day without giving your body adequate time to recover, you never enter that healing and rebuilding phase. You are just in a state of constant breakdown. This state of overtraining causes your body to produce high levels of the stress hormone cortisol and other inflammatory markers, like C-reactive protein. This isn't just about feeling sore. This chronic, systemic inflammation is now recognized by science as a primary root cause of atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in your arteries. So, by pushing too hard and not resting, you could be unknowingly creating the very inflammatory conditions that lead to heart disease. This is a critical concept in senior health. Rest is not laziness. It is a vital part of the strengthening process. I remember Mrs. Susan, who at 70, had just retired and was determined to get into the best shape of her life. She joined a gym and started attending classes 7 days a week: spinning, aerobics, light weightlifting. She ignored her growing fatigue and persistent muscle soreness, thinking it was just part of the process. She came to see me because she was having trouble sleeping and was experiencing an irregular heartbeat. Her blood work showed elevated inflammatory markers. She was completely burned out. She was breaking her body down faster than it could possibly repair itself. The solution is to embrace the principle of active recovery. This means scheduling rest days into your weekly routine and understanding that they are just as important as your workout days. For most seniors, a good schedule is to perform strength-based exercises 3 to 4 times per week on non-consecutive days. This gives your muscles at least 48 hours to fully recover between sessions. Rest doesn't have to mean sitting on the couch all day. An active recovery day could be a gentle walk, some light stretching, or a relaxing activity like gardening. The goal is to keep moving, but in a way that is restorative, not stressful. And the single most important recovery tool of all is sleep. Deep, restorative sleep is when your body releases growth hormone and does the majority of its muscular and cellular repair. Prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night is non-negotiable if you want to get stronger safely. I worked with Mrs. Susan to create a new, smarter schedule. She would do her strength classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Tuesday and Thursday, she would take a gentle yoga class or go for a relaxing walk. The weekends were for rest and family. The change was immediate. Her fatigue lifted, her sleep improved, her heart rhythm normalized, and she found she was actually getting stronger faster than before because her body finally had the time it needed to heal and adapt. Fantastic! You now have a complete guide to exercising in a way that protects your heart while building your strength. Let's summarize these crucial lessons. If you're still watching this video and are now committed to scheduling rest and recovery into your week, please comment "rest and recover" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Mistake 5. Our final mistake is one of the most deeply ingrained habits in fitness culture, something many of us were taught in gym class decades ago: performing deep, static stretches on cold muscles before a workout. We've all seen it, or perhaps done it ourselves before a walk, a round of golf, or a bit of gardening. We reach down to touch our toes, or pull our heel back to stretch our thigh, holding it for 30 seconds. It feels responsible, like we are preparing our body for movement and preventing injury. But here is the shocking truth that modern exercise science has revealed, especially for seniors. Deep, static stretching on a cold body can actually increase your risk of injury and, for some, can put your heart at risk. Think of your muscles, tendons, and blood vessels like a cold rubber band. If you try to stretch it to its limit right out of the freezer, it's brittle and more likely to fray or snap. But if you warm it up in your hands first, it becomes pliable and elastic. When your body is at rest, your blood vessels are relatively constricted, and your muscles are not yet full of warm, oxygenated blood. When you suddenly force a muscle into a deep, prolonged stretch, you can cause microscopic tears in the muscle fibers or tendons. More critically for your heart, you can shock the vascular system. The sudden, forceful stretch can trigger a reflexive tightening of the arteries in that area, temporarily disrupting smooth blood flow. For an aging cardiovascular system, this sudden disruption can create the turbulent conditions where a blood clot could form, posing a direct risk if you have underlying vascular disease. The solution is a simple but critical shift in your routine. Warm up first, stretch last. Your pre-exercise routine should focus on dynamic movements, not static holds. Dynamic movements are gentle, repetitive motions that increase your body temperature and blood flow, lubricating your joints and making your muscles more pliable. Before your walk or activity, spend 5 minutes doing things like gentle marching in place, slow arm circles, or light leg swings. The goal is to get your heart rate up slightly and tell your entire body, we are about to move. Static stretching, where you hold a stretch for 20 to 30 seconds, is still incredibly important for flexibility and is a vital part of senior health. But it should be done after your workout, during your cool down. At this point, your muscles are warm, full of blood, and receptive to being stretched. A post-walk hamstring stretch is safe, feels wonderful, and is highly beneficial. A pre-walk hamstring stretch on a cold muscle is a risk. Mrs. Eileen completely changed her routine. She now walks around her house for 5 minutes before she heads outside. She saves her deep stretches for after her walk, when her body is warm. She reported that the lightheadedness and chest flutters have completely disappeared. She learned to prepare her body for movement, not to shock it. So today, we have learned 4 crucial lessons about exercising safely for our heart health after 60. We learned to avoid straining and holding our breath, and instead to breathe through the effort with lighter weights. We learned to swap sudden, explosive movements for steady, rhythmic cardio. We saw the importance of managing our environment and avoiding exercise in extreme temperatures. And finally, we understood that recovery and rest are just as important as the exercise itself. By avoiding these common mistakes, you are not being timid, you are being intelligent. You are choosing a path that builds you up without tearing you down. The most important message I want you to take away is that you have the power to stay strong and active for decades to come, but you must do so with wisdom and respect for the body you have today. It's about training smarter, not just harder. It's about listening to the subtle signals your body sends you. This mindful approach to movement is the true key to longevity and a high quality of life, and it is the foundation of excellent senior health. Thank you so much for joining me today and for making this investment in your well-being. If you found this video insightful and helpful, please show your support by giving it a like. Please also share it with a friend or family member, because this knowledge can genuinely prevent injury and save lives. For more practical guides to staying strong and vibrant, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And finally, I'd love to hear from you. Please drop a comment below and let me know which of these 4 lessons was the most eye-opening for you. Stay strong, stay smart, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.